Every season of Survivor is a story. There are main characters, sidekicks, comic reliefs, and villains. A good season of Survivor tells a compelling story that has you rooting for someone and against someone else. You will want to watch episode after episode to see what happens next until it all finishes with a hopefully satisfying conclusion. Each story that we look at together will go through one character's journey from beginning to end, from the time that they are introduced until they inevitably get their torch snuffed or win the game. We will look at every character moment and strategic move to determine whether they were a hero or a villain and whether they were a good or bad strategist. And with that, welcome to Once Upon an Island. Now, for reference, we are only going to be observing what the TV show is showing us and what story is being told through the show. No future seasons will be mentioned, as the story and characters here have no idea about what happens in those future seasons. All character moments and strategic moves are interpreted with the mindset of what the story is trying to tell us. And do you want to pick what videos I make and watch them all weeks and months before they release on YouTube? Then consider supporting this channel on Patreon. The patrons on there get to pick what I make, watch everything early, and keep this channel from needing any sponsors or advertisers. Thank you for your support.
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Cao Boi, a 42-year-old nail salon manager from Virginia, was a castaway on Survivor's 13th season, Survivor Cook Islands, and right away the show starts off with a bang that is very reminiscent of season 1. Right away, all 20 castaways are grabbing supplies and jumping off the ship. No opening talk from Jeff about the twist of the season or asking castaways about how they feel about being on the show. It is game on right from the start, and this is only amplified by Jeff saying Exile Island is back, the Super Immunity Idol is back, and we decided to divide our contestants into 4 tribes by race. It's a big twist that certainly garners a variety of reactions from different players.
They have been divided into 4 very unique tribes: Asian American, Caucasian, Latino, and African American.
When I saw the tribes were split right along racial lines was, oh God, this is gonna be hard. Just because I feel like as a people that have the same ethnicity, maybe we'll kind of clash on things.
I could care less about divisions by ethnicity. When it comes to surviving, it's a human effort.
I honestly was stunned. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, on one hand, I think it's a great opportunity because I think it's wonderful that there's more minorities. At the same time, I'm a little bit worried that it might play out to caricatures and stereotypes.
Different ethnic groups. I mean, is that kosher? I don't know.
Now, Cao Boi is on the Asian American tribe Puka. And right away, we see Cao Boi playing upon Yule's worst fear by making Asian jokes.
I can't believe a bunch of Asians who are so little weight so much. Come on.
No more Asian jokes.
Oh, that's right. What stereotype what? It's fat is fat.
Clearly, he finds them funny and thinks everyone else just needs to lighten up, but it is also clear that the rest of his tribe has no interest in giving their ethnicity a bad look on national television. Cao Boi kinda needs to pay attention to what they want to make it far. He then gives us some backstory on himself and who he is.
I'm not a first-generation American. I'm not even an immigrant. I'm a refugee. I came after the Vietnam War as a refugee. I'm a survivor in that way. I've survived the Vietnam War. I can survive this. Nobody suspect these little people with slanted eyes to see anything or to be strong enough to do anything, or maybe don't even speak English. People always underestimate the Asian.
We then hear from Yule that Cao Boi is probably the one person on his tribe that he thinks he'll have the most issue with getting along with due to the generational gap between them. We then cut to Cao Boi, who says, "This is not unusual for me to not really be getting along with everyone, since the Asian community doesn't like my style."
My biggest concern being an all-Asian tribe is I've never been accepted by the Asian community. Take one look at me. I don't look educated. I don't fit the stereotype. Hardworking Mr. Engineers with jacket, suit and tie, drive nice cars. I just don't fit the stereotype. I belong in a hippie community instead.
The Puka tribe so far has been largely focused on Cao Boi, with him front and center on everyone's minds. Speaking of everyone's minds though, Brad has gotten a headache, and despite his disdain for Cao Boi's technique, let's just say Cowboy is a miracle worker.
Brad's problem was he didn't have the normal headache. In Vietnamese, we call it a bad wind. It's not a regular migraine on one side or in the back. It's usually like a sinus headache near the front, and that's an indicator of the bad wind. That will go away in a day or two, it fade away. That's called the indicator.
What the hell happened to you?
He was getting out with all the time.
And he did that to your face?
Yeah.
It looks like it's burnt.
The others, they're Asian American. They were born in America. They've lost touch. They were not born in the old country. Where a lot of this stuff was people don't have antibiotic. So they have to figure out other ways to do it.
I will be truthfully honest with you. I did have a headache. I don't have a headache anymore, but I do have a red dot on my forehead.
Yule then says, I may have misjudged Cowboy. At first, I thought he was a crazy old man, but now after spending 3 days with him, I realized I might have underestimated him. Then, at the Immunity Challenge, it's an intense race that involves puzzles, boats, and fire. So which team comes in first?
Puka wins the challenge! Immunity and fire!
That is it for the premiere of Survivor Cook Islands, and wow, what a character. Puka's scenes were all dominated by Cowboy, and it seems like we kind of got a mini arc this episode of people not liking him saying, yeah, this is nothing new as I'm constantly underestimated, him continuing to just be who he is. Then a couple days later, he not only cures a headache in his own unique way, but has convinced his tribe that while he is odd, he isn't some old crazy kook. I am not sure how long such a big character like him can last, but we should enjoy Cowboy for as long as we have him. Episode 2 begins, and this will be happening more often than I, or even the show, will acknowledge, since often someone will be in the background of a shot, or even doing a confessional, with a red burn between their eyes and they won't acknowledge it. But we do see Cowboy here helping Jenny with her headache, and once again he is painted as someone who is nice and smarter than he looks. However, that night he makes some Asian jokes trying to have some fun with this tribe, and they are having none of it since they worry about how this will look to those watching the show.
You can just change your accent and start speaking Hindu. Oh, holy cow. What do you call a Vietnamese with 3 dogs?
I think the bigger picture is like we get it, but a lot of people won't get it.
Exactly. I don't worry about what other people think.
And I just want them to understand that to represent your race is not about avoiding the joke.
If you're making jokes based on racial prejudice or stereotypes,
yes.
it's just going to confirm them in people's minds who don't know any better.
Well, a joke is a joke, right?
No, it's not.
No.
Cowboy is clearly oblivious to what his tribe is thinking and feeling, and it is hurting his chances to connect with them. Everyone seemingly wants to distance themselves from him despite his good attitude and fun nature and clear knowledge of how to help them. Puka goes on to win immunity, and with that, Yule gets sent to Exile Island by the losing tribe. While Cowboy has no idea about this taking place, what happens next is important to his story and everyone else's.
Holy cow.
Hey, that's quite the end. Oh, mama. Oh. Wow, it's a compass. You have just discovered something of great value. This immunity idol will keep you safe from being voted off the tribal council once only. The last time you can use any hidden immunity idol is when there are 4 survivors remaining in the game.
Wow, in only episode 2, Yule has the super immunity idol, beating Terry, who found it in episode 4 of season 12. Anyways, another storyline takes place this episode that has nothing to do with anyone, but it is far too funny to not show the romance of Billy and Candace.
I feel really bad for you guys. We love you.
I love you. I'm playing the game. That's what I came here to do. My prize isn't even the $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace. And in between...
Candace from Roro tribe.
Yeah, after the last challenge, we sort of mouthed the words I love you to one another, and so that was my prize, and my prize was her.
I've never heard anything that surprised me more than what you just said.
I think it's just, love at first sight. I think it's just a rapport thing.
So you're absolutely sincere right now.
I'm dead serious.
We move on to episode 3, and Cowboy is telling another story that we are shown that no one really cares about, and Brad says, seriously, this guy never shuts up. But who cares what Brad thinks, because it is time for a tribe swap. We are moving from 4 tribes down to 2, and Cowboy ends up on the new I2 tribe, which consists of himself, Yule, Becky, Ozzy, Sandra, Penner, Candace, Cecilia, and Flicka. But now that he is on the old Hispanic tribe's beach, he can't help but reference that.
Mi casa, su casa. They're Hispanic, but mi casa, su casa. That's beautiful.
We then see him connect with Flicka, the outcast from the old Caucasian tribe, and he says, "You are awesome," and they hug. A true connection is really being formed between these two, and they will become inseparable. However, I2 goes on to lose the immunity challenge. Back at camp, Ozzy and Cowboy agree that Becky needs to go since she is so bad at challenges, but then Yul talks to Cowboy and says, "Actually, I need you to see things my way." Cecilia is even worse than Becky. Becky can actually help us down the road, but Cecilia will not. Cowboy says, "I'm not really big into the whole scheming thing, but in order to get Cecilia out, he needs to convince Flicka to vote with him so that they have the numbers, since Penner already tried talking to her and she says she doesn't trust Penner, and frankly, not many people do."
But Jonathan has a point. Numbers game. We have to make it to the merge so we can play the game some more.
I don't want to be picked off.
I know, but they're playing bad.
Oh no.
You're not part of the crowd. I'm not part of the crowd, period. We're just stuck in this, like, I don't know.
Yeah, what do? I don't know what to do.
At Tribal Council, the vote goes down, and in a close call, Cecilia is voted out 5-3 over Becky.
Cecilia, tribe has spoken.
Episode 4 sees I2 winning reward, and back at camp, Cowboy and Penner are out looking for food when they spot a bird's nest that they think they can get some eggs from. Cowboy climbs the tree, kind of like Ozzy does. He knocks down the nest, and as it turns out, there is a newly born bird inside of it.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Put it back in the nest.
This thing is newborn, like today.
Just hatched? Okay, buddy, I'm gonna put it back for you, okay? Sorry. I am really sorry. I mean it.
Yes, he's okay. He's okay.
That kid in me just keep wanting to do this and do that without thinking and getting in trouble. I should know better. What am I doing these stupid things for? I feel really bad. I'm really humble.
Then, at the immunity challenge, it is a tight race that ends with a fire-making showdown. And this comes down to Cowboy, Sundra, and Becky for the I2 tribe, tasked with making the fire to win immunity. And if you know anything about the final 4 fire-making showdown that takes place later this season, you know this has to be Cowboy doing all of the work by himself against Raro.
Cowboy got his own system.
Episode 5 sees Cowboy out fishing, working hard as he usually does, and Candace, Sundra, and Becky are merely just slacking off. He says he is tired of seeing them do this when so many other people are working hard to help the tribe. I2 goes on to lose reward, and back at camp we hear that being in an alliance with Flicka and Cowboy is unsustainable, since they are both fairly unpredictable and cannot be relied upon every day with their strategy.
Cowboy and Flicka voted with us last tribal council, but it's just hard to be in any kind of strategic alliance with them because you have no idea what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis.
Then, in a very surprising event that I can only compare to that one time in Guatemala when the 2 other tribes decided to have a pool party for Danny's birthday, Ozzy, Cowboy, and Flicka pop on over to the Raro tribe's island, who are all none too pleased to see that these 3 have shown up unannounced. They say they straight up cannot stand them. Raro says, "Do not take any supplies from our island. In fact, we don't want you here." This doesn't damper Cowboy's spirits though, as he goes on to tell a story that seemingly no one on Raro cares about, and frankly, they just want him to go away.
Why is this tribe coming our way?
Why is there a tribe here?
Parvati.
Somewhere.
Parvati.
Where can we go?
Parvati.
It was like awkward silence, crickets chirping. Then Cowboy launches into this huge speech about Chinese symbology.
Of just listening to him talk over and over and over and over again, it was a little bit much. And we were kind of all looking around at each other like, okay, is he gonna stop talking?
Despite that unusual event at the immunity challenge, once again it comes down to I2 and Raro in a tight race, and
I2 wins immunity!
So soon, huh? Episode 6 sees a little tiff between Penner and Cowboy take place, as Cowboy says, "We should bring the tribal immunity idol everywhere we go, since I view it as part of our tribe," and Penner says if we do that, the other tribe will think we're rubbing it in their faces, which Cowboy disagrees with.
I would bring immunity idol with us at all times. Every challenges, we should bring him. I believe that Tangaroa is the ocean god of fertility, and he came to us as the immunity idol. He's our extra member.
It means something else to me. It means that when we bring the immunity idol, to a reward challenge that we're sticking it in their face.
Cao Boi, he's gone through a lot of things in life. He knows a lot. At the same time, he's very hard-headed. I mean, he's just an unpredictable guy.
Aitu goes on to win reward, but in a twist that we have seen a few times in the past when the cast is larger than 16 players at the beginning of the season, both tribes are being forced to go to tribal council no matter what. Back at camp, Cao Boi suspects Penner might have the super idol since he has been to exile twice and he has had the most opportunity to acquire it, and says, Yule, I have a brilliant plan for how to flush this thing out.
I had this dream. These people were coming into this village and they were kidnapping people, and they had this robe and they just wrap around them and they fly real quick and become invisible to others. And so I couldn't defeat them. I had this dream. I was dealing with all these supernatural people and with supernatural power. And there's a shaman lady, like this old lady. And she had all kinds of credit card applications. And she asked me if I have an American Express card or Visa, all this stuff. I'm looking at it. And I said, what do I need it for? She said, well, you need 3 of that and 3 of that. And I thought, 3 and 3. That's how you can defeat the immunity idol. You can flush it out. And I woke up and I go, whoa, plan Voodoo.
I think the plan is ingenious. I know that neither Jonathan or Candace have the hidden immunity idol because I have it.
This scene is a lot. Yule can see how his strategic game is being blown up by a guy who has no idea that Yule even has the idol. All the while, this plan is somehow associated with the shaman lady who has credit card applications, and meanwhile, it's secretly brilliant. Little does Cao Boi know that he just invented the strategy that will go on to be used for the rest of Survivor history right here. Penner then says Cao Boi is annoying people, including himself, and he sees him as a threat who needs to go.
I think he's a genuine threat, you know. That's my biggest concern.
Cao Boi then tries to enact Plan Voodoo by having everyone split their votes between Penner and Candace. 3 and 3. This would force Penner to play the idol, though Cao Boi doesn't know Yule actually has it, and then Candace will be out in his mind. He frankly has way too much faith that these people are going to do what he says, as he sees them all talking in the shelter and says, nah, let them talk, they're good. And Yule is smart in not wanting this to happen, this split vote plan, because if it does, it will expose that neither Penner nor Candace have the idol, and guess who are the only 3 people to have been to exile? That's right, these 3. So if neither of them play it, that means Yule has the idol because it's not there. It is time to vote, and we see Flicka and Cao Boi vote for Penner and Candace respectively, and when Jeff reads who is going home,
6th person voted out of Survivor Cook Islands, Cao Boi. That's 4, that's enough. Cao Boi, tribe has spoken.
All the way, sir.
Time for you to go.
All the way.
So let's break this down. How is Cao Boi as a character? Cao Boi is all character. He constantly has a smile on his face, he is constantly enjoying life, and yet he gets on people's nerves. He cracks jokes whether everyone likes them or not, he tells many stories whether everyone likes them or not, and he cures headaches, and yet people complain about it despite him solving their problem in a non-destructive manner. Like Cao Boi said, he's misunderstood, but he doesn't let that get him down, as he is always being his genuine self to the detriment of his strategic game, but to the benefit of being an entertaining character on this season that we will not forget. He does more in 6 episodes to establish us remembering him and making impact on the show than many do over the course of a whole season. Out of 12 character moments shown on the show, 8 were heroic and 4 were villainous, making Cao Boi a hero character on Survivor Cook Islands. Now, how is Cao Boi as a strategist not good? At one point, he literally says he doesn't like scheming, which is kind of an important thing to do in the show. He never stood a chance at winning, and his best bet of going far this season was to be dragged to the end as a goat. He didn't understand people's perceptions about him, and when he did, he didn't care to change anything to please them. He was unapologetically himself, for better or for worse, depending on your view. His only good alliance was with Flicka, but on the flip side, he came up with Plan Voodoo, and while no one ever again calls it this strategy is used throughout Survivor until the end of time. Cao Boi may not be a good strategist, but like Yule said, he has some nuggets of gold. Out of 17 strategic moments shown on the show, 6 were smart and 11 were dumb, making Cao Boi a dumb strategist on Survivor Cook Islands. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. See you all next time.